me start by saying this. Failure is not the problem. We've been taught to fear failure, to avoid it at all costs. But the truth is, failure is part of progress. The real problem isn't that we fail, it's that most people never learn how to fail the right way. People don't fail because they're not smart enough, not talented enough, or not lucky enough. They fail because they give up too soon. They fail because they focus on the wrong things, on quick wins, on looking successful rather than actually becoming successful. Failure itself is not the problem. It's how we interpret it, how we respond to it, and ultimately how we let it shape our mindset that makes all the difference. Most people view failure as a definitive end, as a sign that they weren't good enough or that they should stop trying. But failure is not a stop sign, it's a checkpoint. It's a moment that gives us valuable data, insight, and the opportunity to course correct. The people who succeed aren't the ones who never fail. They are the ones who refuse to let failure define them. The problem is that society has conditioned us to believe failure is something to be ashamed of. From an early age, we are taught that mistakes are bad, that getting things wrong means we are less capable. In school, failing a test means a bad grade, and bad grades mean a bad future. In our professional lives, failing at a project can be seen as incompetence rather than an opportunity to improve. But the truth is, every successful person has failed, and not just once, many times. The only difference is they saw failure as a lesson, not as a label. Think about some of the most successful people in history. Thomas Edison famously failed 10,000 times before inventing the light bulb, but he didn't see those 10,000 attempts as failures. He saw them as 10,000 ways that didn't work. Walt Disney was fired from a newspaper because he lacked imagination, yet he went on to create an empire built on creativity. Oprah Winfrey was told she wasn't fit for television. Each of these individuals faced rejection, doubt, and setbacks, but they didn't let those moments determine their future. The real failure isn't in falling down, it's in staying down. If we change our mindset and start seeing failure as part of the journey rather than the end of it, we open ourselves up to growth. Every mistake teaches us something. Every misstep reveals what doesn't work. Instead of thinking, I failed, so I should stop, we need to start asking, what can I learn from this? How can I improve? Most people don't struggle because they aren't talented enough or intelligent enough. They struggle because they give up too soon. The fear of failure paralyzes them. They would rather not try than risk getting it wrong. But in doing so, they miss out on the opportunities that only failure can provide. The discomfort of failing is temporary, but the regret of never trying lasts forever. When we shift our perspective, failure becomes a stepping stone instead of a roadblock. It is the greatest teacher if we are willing to listen. It shows us our weaknesses, our blind spots, and the areas where we need to improve. It teaches us resilience, patience, and persistence. The most successful people are not the ones who avoid failure, but the ones who embrace it, learn from it, and keep moving forward despite it. We need to stop fearing failure and start using it as fuel. Growth is uncomfortable and progress is rarely linear, but the only real way to fail is to quit. If we shift our mindset and start seeing failure as feedback rather than finality, we unlock a level of potential that most people never reach. In today's world, we are wired to chase quick wins. We want results now, we want success today. The problem is real success, lasting success, doesn't happen overnight. It happens over time through consistency, patience, and a commitment to long-term growth. But most people aren't willing to wait. They would rather take shortcuts, look for instant gratification, and focus on short-term gains rather than investing in something that will truly grow and last. We see this in every aspect of life. People start a new business and expect it to be profitable in a matter of months. When it's not, they quit. They start a new workout routine, and when they don't see visible abs in 2 weeks, they give up. They try to learn a skill, but if they aren't perfect immediately, they assume they aren't talented enough and move on to something else. The reality is nothing meaningful happens quickly. Every great success story is built on years of effort, discipline, and persistence. One of the biggest mistakes people make is assuming that speed equals success. They look at influencers, entrepreneurs, and high achievers and assume they got there effortlessly without seeing the years of struggle that happened behind the scenes. Social media makes this worse because it highlights the victories but hides the struggles. We see the highlight reel, but we don't see the late nights, the rejections, the failures, and the sacrifices. So when we don't achieve success as fast as we expected, we think we're failing and we abandon the process. Chasing short-term wins also leads to poor decision-making. People prioritize immediate results over sustainable growth. They take jobs for quick pay rather than developing long-term career skills. They cut corners in their businesses to make fast money instead of building something with true value. They seek validation, recognition, and short bursts of motivation instead of committing to the long, sometimes unglamorous path of mastery. In the end, they may see some early success, but it doesn't last. It fades because the foundation was never built to withstand the long haul. The most successful people understand that success is not a sprint, it's a marathon. They are willing to play the long game. They don't focus on how quickly they can get there. They focus on how well they can build something that lasts. They understand that true expertise takes time, that relationships take years to cultivate, that wealth is built slowly through smart decisions and consistency. They know that the short-term sacrifices they make today will pay off in ways they can't yet see. The truth is, the most rewarding things in life require patience. The problem is, most people aren't willing to endure the discomfort of delayed gratification. But if you are willing to push through, if you are willing to focus on the long game instead of chasing quick wins, you will find yourself in a position where success isn't just possible, it's inevitable. One of the biggest reasons people feel stuck, frustrated, or like they're failing is because they are constantly comparing themselves to others. Instead of focusing on their own progress, they measure their success against someone else's achievements. It's an exhausting and never-ending cycle because no matter how much you accomplish, there will always be someone doing more, achieving more, or appearing to have a better life. Social media has made this problem even worse. We wake up, check our phones, and immediately see people who seem to have everything figured out. Someone launching a new business, someone traveling the world, someone in perfect shape, someone buying a dream home. It makes us feel like we're behind, like we're not doing enough, like we're somehow failing. But what we fail to recognize is that we are comparing our behind-the-scenes reality to someone else's highlight reel. We don't see the struggles, the sacrifices, the failures, and the insecurities that person faces. We only see what they choose to show us. The truth is, comparison is the fastest way to kill progress. It shifts our focus away from what truly matters, our own journey. Instead of working on getting better, we become obsessed with trying to catch up to someone else. Instead of celebrating our small wins, we discount them because they don't seem as impressive as someone else's. Instead of appreciating how far we've come, we focus on how much further someone else appears to be. But the reality is, success is not a race. There is no single path, no universal timeline, no right way to do things. Everyone is on their own journey, shaped by their own experiences, challenges, and opportunities. What works for one person may not work for another, and that's okay. The only person you should be competing with is who you were yesterday. The goal is not to be better than someone else, it's to be better than you were before. When you stop comparing and start focusing on your own path, everything changes. You start setting goals that matter to you, not goals that look impressive to others. You start appreciating your progress, even if it's small. You start realizing that success is not about how quickly you get there, but about growing into the person who can sustain it. If you spend your life trying to measure up to someone else, you will always feel like you're not enough. But when you shift your focus inward, when you commit to your own growth, your own pace, and your own vision, you free yourself from the pressure of comparison. You start to enjoy the journey instead of constantly feeling like you're behind. And in the end, that's what true success looks like. Not being the best compared to others, but becoming the best version of yourself. Most people believe they need more motivation to succeed. They think that if they could just wake up feeling inspired every day, they would finally be able to stay consistent with their goals. But motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes. Some days you feel unstoppable, and other days you feel stuck, tired, or unmotivated. The problem is people wait for motivation to take action, but that's not how real progress happens. The truth is, we don't lack motivation, we lack discipline. Motivation is an emotional state, and emotions are constantly changing. You might feel excited about starting something new, but as soon as the hard work begins, that excitement fades. This is where most people give up. They assume that because they no longer feel motivated, they aren't capable of continuing. They wait for the right moment, the right energy, the right feeling to start again. But Successful people don't wait to feel like doing the work, they do it anyway. Discipline is what separates those who succeed from those who don't. Discipline is showing up even when you don't feel like it. It's doing what needs to be done even when you're tired, uninspired, or frustrated. It's committing to the process, not just the outcome. Anyone can put in the effort when they feel excited, but the real test is whether you keep going when the excitement is gone. Think about the most accomplished athletes, artists, entrepreneurs, or leaders. Do you think they feel motivated every single day? Of course not. But they don't rely on motivation. They rely on habits, routines, and a deep sense of commitment to their craft. They know that showing up consistently, even in the smallest ways, leads to long-term success. The problem is that we have been conditioned to believe that success should feel exciting all the time, that we should always be inspired. But discipline doesn't feel exciting. It's repetitive. It's often boring. It's waking up early when you want to sleep in. It's going to the gym when you don't feel like working out. It's putting in extra hours when no one is watching. It's pushing through the discomfort because you understand that the process is more important than the feeling. Most people don't fail because they lack talent or intelligence. They fail because they give up when motivation fades. They tell themselves they'll try again when they feel ready, but ready never comes. The people who achieve their goals are the ones who keep going even when it's hard, even when it's inconvenient, even when no one is cheering them on. Discipline is the bridge between goals and results. It's what turns dreams into reality. And the best part? Discipline is a skill. It's something anyone can develop. You don't have to be born with it. You just have to start showing up. Start keeping promises to yourself. Start taking small steps, even when you don't feel like it. Over time, those small acts of discipline compound into massive results. If you can master discipline, you will never have to rely on motivation again. Because while motivation may get you started, only discipline will keep you going. And in the end, that's what truly determines success. Most people don't fail because they aren't smart enough, talented enough, or capable enough. They fail because they quit too soon. They give up right before things start to work. They stop pushing when the progress isn't immediate. They walk away when success is just around the corner. The truth is, the biggest difference between those who succeed and those who don't isn't talent. It's perseverance. We live in a world that glorifies overnight success. We see stories of people who seem to have made it instantly, who built multi-million-dollar businesses in a year, who transformed their bodies in 30 days, who became famous with one viral video. What we don't see is the years of work behind the scenes, the late nights, the failures, the sacrifices, because success doesn't happen overnight, it happens over time. The problem is most people don't stick around long enough to see it through. Think about how often people quit before they see real results. Someone starts a business, but after a few months, when they aren't making money, they shut it down. Someone starts a workout routine, but when they don't see instant transformation, they stop going to the gym. Someone pursues a dream, but as soon as they face rejection or failure, they assume they aren't good enough and walk away. But success is not about getting right the first time, it's about staying in the game long enough to figure things out. The biggest breakthroughs happen right after most people would have given up. Imagine how many great ideas never came to life because someone quit too soon. How many businesses never took off because the owner didn't push through the hard times. How many dreams were abandoned because someone let temporary failure convince them to stop. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't isn't that successful people never fail. It's that they refuse to quit. Quitting often comes from frustration. We expect fast results, and when we don't see them, we assume something is wrong. We think if it's not working yet, it's never going to work. But progress is not always visible in the beginning. Sometimes you're planting seeds that will take months or even years to grow. The effort you're putting in now might not pay off today, but that doesn't mean it won't pay off at all. The key is to trust the process and keep going even when it feels like nothing is happening. Success is not about finding the perfect strategy or waiting for the right moment. It's about showing up day after day, even when it's hard. Even when you don't feel like it. Even when it seems like nothing is working. Because the truth is, you never know how close you are to your breakthrough. The next attempt could be the one that changes everything. The next opportunity could be the one that finally works. But if you quit, you'll never find out. Most people quit when things get difficult. The successful ones push through. They understand that struggle is part of the journey, that obstacles are meant to be overcome, that failure is just feedback. They know that success isn't about who starts, it's about who keeps going. If you want to succeed, don't quit. Don't stop just because it's taking longer than you expected. Don't walk away just because it's harder than you thought. Stay in the game. Keep learning. Keep adapting. Keep pushing forward, because in the end, the only way to truly fail is to give up too soon.